Y'all ready to put in the work today? That's what we're going to be doing. We're going to put in the work today. You guys got coaching the last 2 days, and today we're going to put in the work. We're also going to do some objection role playing, so it's going to be great. I want to dive in basically right away, as soon as possible. If you can, open up your Facebook on the side. Focus here for the training, but go on Facebook because I'm going to drop in the Facebook group right now the links to the worksheets so you can open them up. My request again is if you are watching this live, if you're watching this on replay, be 100% focused for the next hour and a half. The things that we're going to do today are going to be incredibly valuable for your business and allow you to scale more successfully as you move forward. We're going to be talking about 3 main things today. Number 1 is the client acquisition checklist. Number 2 is going to be your the sales optimization workshop. So we're going to talk about how to optimize your current sales process. And then number 3 is we're going to be doing live objection role playing. So if you're here on this call, I'm going to ask you to sell me or pitch me, or you're going to give me your objection, and we're going to deal with it based on what you've learned with me the previous week. Okay. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to open up that Facebook group link. I'm just going to mute myself for 1 second so that I can put the links in for you. Give me a second.
And if today is your first day here, I recommend you checking out the replays in the YouTube channel. Pretty soon, the replays will be loaded into the membership area under the university, and you'll be able to access a lot of the collaterals and things like that. Alex's focus today is getting the work done. There's not a whole lot of philosophy, concepts, and things like that. Today is more like, hey, let's do the homework together, worksheets together. We're going to practice a couple of things together,
Yes, sir.
very much go into an implementation mode, which is pretty new for us here at High Level. So take advantage of it.
Nice.
All the questions in the Facebook streaming. If you're not in the Facebook group, I don't know why you're not. So
Northcutt, what's up, man?
question and put your comments there. Okay, Alex, take it away, man.
Awesome. Thank you, Paulson. Guys, this is what I do for a living, right? Coaching and speaking and creating valuable content for agency owners. The reality is, right, when I do this, I know that it's impossible to take away every single thing we say. You can rewatch the sales coaching or Brian's training yesterday 25 times, but the ultimate reality is you're only going to be able to take away a certain percentage of what I'm sharing. So today, I actually want to do the work itself. I dropped both worksheets inside of the Facebook chat. So you can grab them, make your own copy so you can fully edit it. This is going to be immensely valuable as we go through it today. And I'll explain each of them. Before we do that, I just want to show you the idea of what we're covering in general. And this is the ISSA map, right? This is our IP, the infinitely scalable agency is our goal. Our biggest thing in POD is building a business that facilitates your life. We're not amongst the people who are like the hustle culture. If you're not making $1 million a day, you're a terrible person. If you're not growing and consistently making more money, you're bad. We're not into that. We're more so into developing a company that allows you to build your dream life and identifying what key systems you need in order to do that. The last 2 days, Brian and I shared the 7 key systems. This is what it looks like in a layout, where if you hire someone that's either going to take over as operations manager or a specific role in the company, it's easy to show someone the high level of this business and say, hey, these are my prospecting channels. This is what I do when I qualify. This is our sales process. These are our offers. This is how we onboard our clients. This is our client success. And each of these are linked. Now, the idea behind this is what we're going to cover today is going to be this. I don't think I can highlight it. Prospecting, qualification, and optimal sales system. That's really what we're going to cover today, which is client acquisition. Okay. And that's how we're going to be breaking this down to start this off. So if you don't have this link, make sure you copy it from the worksheet on the High Level Facebook group. It will also be, I'm guessing, in the YouTube page as well. If you really need to, you can end up copying this, pausing the video and copying this, which would be kind of annoying. So I'm sure you don't want to do that. Let's dive in and let's talk about the client acquisition checklist in general. All right. Now, keep in mind, the client acquisition is a mix of prospecting and sales SOPs. Before we dive into the actual document, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and look at you all for a second. By the way, if you can turn your video on, I'd really appreciate that. I'd love to see you if it's cool, because we're going to be doing a lot of work together. I'd really appreciate it. If you're driving, don't, but if you aren't, that would be really awesome. With that being said, here's the thing I want you to be considerate of. A lot of people tell me that they want to hire a salesperson. And when they say they want to hire a salesperson, they actually mean a client acquisition specialist. What they mean by that, and what I'm talking about, is When you say you're hiring a salesperson, that person's job only is taking phone calls and closing deals. If you're hiring a salesperson, but they're supposed to do outbound prospecting, curating lists, doing any warm calling or outbound calling from high level through ISSA, et cetera, if they're doing any of that, that is a client acquisition specialist. The roles are separated. Prospecting and sales are two different elements of your company. Together, they are client acquisition. I want to change the knowledge and the semantics of the world that we live in this agency world. When people are talking about salespeople, most of you are also talking about prospecting. What I want you to do when you're talking about salespeople is those are people that are just taking inbound sales calls, period. If you have prospectors, they are booking appointments. Those are two very different roles. That doesn't mean you can't hire someone to do both. That just means they're a client acquisition specialist. I want to make that clear up front so I can help you and benefit you as we move forward with this. That being said, let's dive into the actual acquisition checklist step by step. And I'm going to break down each one for you and answer any questions you have. Today should be a lot more interactive than the last several days because we have an hour and a half together available. The best value I can give you is you asking questions. That's what I'm here for. And this is what we do every single day. There's no wrong or bad question. There are no dumb questions. There are no two rookie questions. Whatever you need support on, whatever you're looking for clarity on, that's what I'm here to help you with. Let's go through this checklist one at a time, and then we're going to start the next workshop, okay? Let's start with the prospecting. Let's break down each of these elements, okay? The first thing that I want to mention related to prospecting is this, and this is my strong belief. Any outbound prospecting is a means to an end. What I mean by that is any effective agency in terms of growth, if you are really looking to get new clients consistently, must be running ads so you can have a predictable methodology for new client acquisition. There are a lot of people out there that will say you can have predictability with LinkedIn prospecting or Instagram prospecting or cold calling or warm calling or direct mail or any of those things. And the reality is it's not as predictable as Facebook ads or YouTube ads or Google ads. It just is not. That doesn't mean it's not effective. Cold email and those strategies are still effective, but it is a means to an end. If you are not taking profitability from your outbound prospecting into inbound ads, you are missing out. And also, and I hope you don't mind me being blunt, you're being a bit hypocritical. How can you possibly ask your clients to invest $1,000, $1,500, $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 a month on advertising if you're not going to? Now, if you're just a SaaS company or you're just an SEO company, maybe that's not relevant to you. But the reality is, I know a lot of you at high level offer marketing services that include advertising, and you are not running advertisements. Come on now. You got to. It's just an important piece. What we're going to discuss right now is all the things that you can do to create enough revenue for yourself so that you can run ads. If this is making sense, just drop a 7 in the chat for me. Let me know that this is helpful. And if anyone has any questions about that comment first, I'll be more than happy to answer. This is one of those days that you have to have courage. You have to be willing to raise your hand or just straight up unmute yourself and ask, because that's what I'm here for. You're not going to interrupt me or bother me or upset me. I'm here for you. I'm here to serve you. That's what I got the opportunity to do with High Level, and I'm really excited about it. And just so you know, if you're on the replay and you didn't get a chance to ask a question, just reach out to me on Facebook. I'm pretty active in the High Level group. I saw one of my posts from like 2020 explode today, which was kind of funny. I got like 10 comments from a post I did 2 years ago, Paulson. I thought that was pretty funny. Anyways, is there any questions before I move on? Just give you a 5-second countdown here.
Can you write down like a number 1 or 2 in the comments in the Facebook streaming if you already got access to the Google Docs link that Alex just shared in the streaming? We just want to get a good idea and make sure everybody in the room has it, because we may use it throughout the rest of the session. And it's going to be a workshop, practical implementation.
We will be using this the rest of the session. And the other workshop is the one we're going to spend the majority of time on, but this one is really important too.
Okay. Few people are saying yes. I'm starting to get it. Okay, cool. Go ahead.
Awesome. So let's start with prospecting in a box. We mentioned this briefly in the last 2 days. When High Level just came out, we were using it as an opportunity to build out like a prospecting engine. Basically, I think this was even before workflows were made. I'm not really great at tech, so I apologize if I use the wrong terminology. I believe it was triggers is what it was at the time, and we built it out with Zapier and stuff, which to me is basically magic, but to my tech team, they know what they're doing. People like ask me GHL stuff, like in terms of tech, I don't really know how we did it, but basically a series of like daily messages you would send to leads and outbound and all that kind of stuff and calls. So we put together a sequence that would allow your audience to be interested and inclined. Brian yesterday shared those scripts. If you did not get those scripts from yesterday, just drop scripts in the chat. We'll make sure that you get them. Those scripts were amongst the things that we used to build a sequence. Now, the idea of prospecting in a box, that was just our terminology. What we're really saying is just a sequence of prospecting messages that includes something along these lines. This is how we usually recommend it. Some sort of social outreach message, which is going to be Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook business page, personal business page, some sort of social outreach, okay? Usually on social outreach, you guys see like a lot of these like very canned messages. The less canned they are and the more direct they are with transparency, the easier it is. It is a numbers game. You're going to upset some people. Some people are not going to like it, but ultimately you will get some really good ones as well from it. What you want to do is be deliberate on your promise, like we spoke about the other day. Like, don't tell them like, I see you run this HVAC company. How's it going? They don't care. They just want to know, hey, if I can guarantee you 100% that I can get you 20 new HVAC clients in the next 30 days, would you be open to a conversation? Are you going to get a lot of responses to that? Yes. Does that mean they'll pay you? Not necessarily. Will you get some people that don't answer you? Of course. This is what prospecting is. That's how it works. Okay. Outside of the social outreach messages, the following day is always going to be a call. You may have seen in our Facebook group, Brian and I do a couple very silly videos like the Hot Wing Hotline or the Wheel of Misfortune or the Cold Call Shot Line. A lot of you joined our group recently, which thank you. That's super awesome. I appreciate that. And in Seven Figure Sales Savages, we do these videos where we call leads for you to show you that you shouldn't have telephobia. Telephobia is a really common problem in the agency space. People are afraid to pick up the phone and like get yelled at or whatever it is. Don't be afraid. Like being on the phone is the easiest and fastest way to book appointments. And if you have any questions about that or how to say it appropriately, I'll share with you. But that's the next piece, which is the warm call frames and script. Now, the frame is really the biggest thing. A lot of people ask me this about the one call close. So I want to clarify this as we go along. The one call close is not you cold call someone and close them. I'm talking about after the appointment set. This is how one should look. 3, 2, 1. Hey, Chris, what's going on, man? I saw your profile on Instagram and I noticed that you're currently running ads on Google. So I wanted to give you a ring. Did you know that on Google, you can actually get higher up the platform if you implement XYZ strategy? Can I have 15 minutes of your time to show that to you? I think it would be really valuable. Something along those lines is pretty simple. What's up, Paulson?
Do you mind zooming in that document on the streaming? It's really small. People are
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Bam. Check it out.
A little bit more. Bueno. Thank you, sir.
Cool. No worries. Thanks for that. Cool. So that's going to be the warm call frames and script. Just before we move after this, I just want to keep going back to this and what you do, let's say on the third day. We used to do voicemail drops, which I believe high level can do now, which is pretty cool. The reality is it didn't really work that often for us. We just found that calls were always more effective. But essentially the sequence would be something along the lines of outreach message on a social platforms, call the next day, follow-up outreach message on the contact us page on their website, cold email, follow-up call, something along those lines, and then ending off with, you've seen it before, like, hey, maybe you're not interested. Here's my last chance, last offer. The last message I usually use is a pricing offer. The reason being is that a lot of people don't answer your message because they don't want to share. They don't want to get on a call with you without knowing the price. If you're really confident in your offer and you have proof to back it up, there's no harm in using that as your last message. Something along the lines of, hey, maybe you've seen these, but you don't want to jump on a call because you're not sure of the investment. Just so you know, it's going to be $1,500 a month. I guarantee 30 new clients with that. At minimum, you're going to be making 20, 30,000. Let me know if you're open to chatting about it. I'll show you. Those messages actually get a lot of responses because now they're qualified on the price. They want to hear how they can do that. Really valuable. Okay. Application or mini application. There's not much to share here. I'm sure you've heard of it before. An application is just a simple qualifying metric. If you're not qualifying your clients in any way, you're going to have a lot of problems with sales in general and prospecting to the right people. There's not much to note on this other than having a simple qualifying application. You might remember on the first offer I made during the high level summit that I mentioned, like, hey, if you're at like 0 to 3,000, we're probably not the right fit for you because, we want you to invest a significant amount of money on advertising. When we say significant, we mean like $30 a day, which is significant to someone that is making, $1,500 to start their company. But you just have to have some sort of qualifier. Is it required 100% for prospecting and success? No. Would it be helpful? Yes. The difference between a mini application is just like 3 questions versus 10. The simpler, the better. There used to be this mindset of the more hoops the prospect has to jump through, the better, because they'll be more qualified. Just because of the saturation of the market, it's not really that way as it was maybe like 4 or 5 years ago, but just something to consider. Positioning is really important, and these are really easy. The thing that we like to focus on the most is a Facebook profile. I'm not going to share my profile just so that we can stay focused here. But remember, we showed yesterday Manuel's profile. That was a good example. Brian spoke a little bit about having like your cover photo with the link, having like a featured photo with an offer, having like your, call to action on your, little bio, sharing proof and testimonials. Having those elements are really valuable because people will search you. Think of it this way, okay? If you guys right now, and I know you'll resonate with this, if you guys right now, just to go to a restaurant to spend $30 for lunch, look at 10 reviews, do you think that your clients who are going to spend $500, $1,000, $5,000 with you per month are going to probably look you up and see what your reviews are and see what you're posting and get to know you a little bit more? The answer is yes. So you should have a really strong positioning, right? If you guys go to my profile and try to like break the fourth wall, look at what I'm doing. I'm posting about my community because that should make people want to join our community. I'm posting proof and testimonials that we're really good at what we do. I'm showcasing, how we help people and making offers. Like that's the idea behind it. And Brian spoke about this in pretty good detail yesterday. So if you missed it, please watch that replay. It's very, very good. Brian did an awesome job. To be honest, I don't feel like I'm doing a great job on LinkedIn. So I don't really want to get here on a soapbox and pretend that I'm doing a great job on LinkedIn. There's just so many things in business to always work on. To say that I've spent even like 5 minutes of time on LinkedIn in the last 6 months would be a lie. Should you utilize it more efficiently than me? Yes. Is it like going to make or break your business? No. So just keep that in mind. I like to be upfront and transparent about what I'm doing well or what I'm not doing well. Just a reminder in general, guys, there's always going to be things to work on in the business. You're never going to wake up one day and be like, everything's checked off. I'm done. I finished. It's not how it goes. There's always stuff to do. So for one of those things for me would be, working on LinkedIn, for example, but you don't have to for now. This next one is really, really important. If you have an appointment setter, someone that's just doing prospecting, you have to have a tracker. You have to know what they're doing with the leads. The good thing is High Level does this for you, which is awesome. They have a pipeline. That's how we built our prospecting in a box. You use the pipeline and then you just put in there. You can even have a Zapier. It's way over my head on how to do it, but basically just put a note of what the outreaches was. So if you have a lead, let's make up a name. That's Michelle Henderson. Okay. If in Michelle Henderson's card on GHL, it says day 1, we sent this thing on Instagram. Day 2, we sent this cold email. Day 3, we called. Day 4, we did this. It will give you insight as to where the process is working or breaking. And that's important, right? This is like the idea of showing your work so you can make data-driven decisions. This is absolutely critical. You have to have it. I'm seeing a couple of people from the POD fan, by the way, here, which is great to see. Johnny Northcutt, Ben Roman. Good to see you guys. Ben, I haven't seen you in a minute. I hope you're well, man. Prospecting VA scorecard. Pretty much the same thing as what I'm talking about here. But a scorecard to us, just for clarity, is a job scorecard. So like what their role is in the company. If you don't have that, you're going to miss out significantly because then you're not going to be able to have KPIs. You should have expectations of what their job should be and what you expect from them. The only issue that I see with sharing this with you guys right now is one of your questions are going to be, what KPI should I expect for my prospecting VA? It's impossible to give you any baseline because every niche, every offer, everything is a variable. Can we talk about yours in particular? We can, but there's no baseline. There should be a baseline of how much you expect them to do outreach. And then you get the baseline usually a month to 2 months after that you can start holding them accountable to. An appointment setter is going to be the person that's doing the calls. Can you have someone doing the outreach and someone doing the calls? Yes, 100%. Dream 100. Brian did an entire call on this yesterday. It was really good. Ads, like I mentioned earlier, everything we're talking about is a means to an end to run ads, period. Because all of this is done for you by ads, which is why it's a lot more beneficial. That's the truth. Anyone there telling you that like there's a big thing in the space about, oh, like do this thing and get a bunch of clients without dropping a single dime on ads. It's completely counterintuitive. You are asking your clients to spend money on ads. Spend money on ads. Invest in your company. You will get rewarded. We have clients in POD that on average have cost per acquisition from $80 to $300 for $2,000 or $5,000 products. It's a no-brainer. You need to run ads. Agency website or offer demo page. I'm a big believer of not focusing on a website. People get crazy about this, right? I'm bigger on the offer demo. Just have a simple demo page. It's very easy. All you have to do is just have a result on the left side, a video of what your product is, testimonials, and a booking link using High Level. And guess what? High Level has all the templates for you. We use it. Just do it. The last thing would be, if necessary, a Facebook group. This is a huge endeavor in and of itself. You don't have to have it, but if you can start curating your leads through your own Facebook group, it'll make a big difference, just like we do, just like High Level does, just like many other people in the space do. It's challenging. It's a lot of work, but it is necessary. These are the checklist items that we advise for prospecting. What I'm going to do now is just tell you which ones you must have 100% that are the simplest right away. Okay. Number one, warm call frames. You have to pick up the phone, period. This is not a conversation. It's not a question. It's a must, a requirement. You have to do it. If you don't do it, you are going to be behind. There's nothing else to say. Number two, you have to have a Facebook profile funnel. Brian broke it down yesterday. It's very easy to do. It will take you less than an hour, and then you can implement it once a week. It's very valuable and super useful. I strongly recommend it. After that, a Dream 100 list, making sure that you're creating opportunities for one-to-many like we spoke about yesterday. And then finally, an offer demo page. Everything else right now is optional. Obviously, eventually, I'd like you to run ads, as I've said 3 or 4 times. I'm going to stop sharing for a second. Is there any questions that anyone has? And if you're enjoying this, can you just do me a favor and hit me with a thumbs up? And if you're on the live, can you just drop a 7? That'll be great.
Hey, Alex, can you also elaborate that what you just shared, that checklist shouldn't take 5 years?
Yeah. I told this to you guys yesterday. Brian talks about this idea of playing business. We're like, do you remember when you were like kids and you'd like play with GI Joes and you like pretend you're playing war, or you are like a woman and you were playing with like teacups and you're like playing like tea party? Like that's what entrepreneurs do. They're like, I'm tweaking my website for 30 days. I'm going to work on like my reviews. I'm going to like build out this crazy funnel, but never actually do any outreach. That's what I mean by playing business. You guys should have a very specific framework of getting all of those things done within a week. It should not take more than that. And then when you get objections and problems that arise, then you put time away to work on it then. But trying to set everything up before going out there and doing it is 100% guarantee that you will make no progress. I want to say that again, 100% guaranteed you will make no progress. That's true. If you do nothing other than playing business by setting these things up without doing any action, you will move nowhere. So if you do it, make sure I'm also doing 10 calls a day, 10 messages and outreaches. It doesn't even matter if it's good. It could be terrible. Guys, I told you this on the coaching call on Monday, it was, where I did the one call close training. If you do the one call close and you do everything incorrect, you could be just terrible. But at the end, you're super confident, you can still make a close. This is a perfect example. You're 100% guaranteed to make 0 sales if you do no outreach. You have a better chance even if you do outreach and it's terrible. Does that make sense? Even if your outreach is terrible, but you do it, you have a better chance of making sales than if you did nothing. That's what it means. Is there any questions about the prospecting checklist before we move on to the sales? And then we're going to actually do the workshop with the sales workshop itself. Any questions? All good? Covered? How many of you are lying right now, have questions, but are too afraid to ask them? At least half of you. It's okay. Let's dive into the sales and then move on to the sales training. Okay. One call close framework. I shared the entire thing with you already on Monday. If you didn't get the slides for that, just comment slides in the chat. We'll make sure that you have it. It broke down the entire thing. A couple of you asked, by the way, for the actual framework. That was the framework. I gave it to you inside the slides. Sales deck. A sales deck is just really important in my opinion. At the very least, I shared some of these thoughts, but on the sales deck, what you want to have is your offer and a guarantee, ROI positioning, social proof, and that competition slide. If you guys just have those elements, you're going to be in a great spot. You don't have to overdo it. Some people do these webinar style ones, like Russell Brunson style of like, oh, I'm going to do like a stack and everything. It's crazy. You're not selling 1 to 100 people. So don't do that. Just have a simple sales deck, 4, 5, 6 slides. Keep it really, really simple for you to have success with it. Okay. Product summary SOP. A lot of you have multiple offers. Like you might have a SaaS product, you might have a SEO product, a sales product, a lead generation product. Just make sure that if you do that, that you have a format of how it works in Ascension and what the qualifications are, right? So what needs to happen for someone to fall into the SaaS bucket? A prospect. What needs to happen for someone to fall into the lead generation bucket? What needs to happen for someone to fall into the SEO bucket, so that you don't end up offering multiple things on one call, like we spoke about on Monday? Pretty simple SOP. You should just be considering in this product summary, basically what the benefits are, what features there are, what the 3 to 4 step process is, to the most important thing, the result. What is the result of your service? The offer framework or irresistible offer, like I just kind of explained with the product summary. Again, the biggest thing is 3 to 4 step process, and then exactly what your result's going to be. So in our 4-step grow method, we get you 20 new MedSpot clients a month. Easy. An offer demo video. Everyone struggles with no-shows. It's a really big problem. What you want to do is you want to have a 3-minute Loom video that's templated going through your offer. Make one up on Canva, just like a 3-step process with your result, and just say, hey, this is Alex from Prospecting on Demand. In this 3-minute video, I'm going to share with you our Pulse method. And our Pulse method is a 5-step model to help your law firm get 15 new cases per month. And I'm going to show you how. If you jump on the call with me, I'm going to show you how we're going to implement this specifically for your firm. Here's what we do. Number one is blah, 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 blah. We've done this before many times. Here's a quick piece of proof. Can't wait to see you. Talk to you then. It's a 3-minute video, super easy, and it will make a huge difference. So when you get on the call with the prospect and you say, hey, Chris, did you watch that video I sent you? You did. Did you like it? Now they're pre-framed. They're ready to rock. Makes a huge difference, okay? Appointment reminder sequence and no-show sequence. I'm not really going to dive into how to do an effective appointment reminder sequence. The biggest one is I just want to mention this. If people no-show you, just give them the price on the offer after the no-show, because that means they did not prioritize it enough. It doesn't mean that they don't want to work with you. It just means they prioritized anything else over it, or they forgot. Just break the price barrier by sharing it. Like, hey, missed you on the call today. Was really looking forward to it. I'm still looking to partner with a chiropractor in Tallahassee. Just so you know, I'm guaranteeing 15 new patients per month. The investment's going to be $1,500. I'd expect you to make at least $5,000 a month, and I have proof to back it up. If you want to see that, let's get back on a call. Now, when they get back on the call, you don't have to worry about the price. Now you just have to prove them that this is a valuable service for them. Objection handling, we're going to do that today. Sales pipeline and deal tracker, it says high level for a reason. Use the high level sales pipeline. It is really good. The opportunities pipeline are amazing. I cannot recommend it enough. One recommendation is to make sure you clean it at least once a quarter, because if you don't and you use it for over a year, you have like 300, 400, 500 leads in there, and then it becomes impossible to manage. So just keep that in mind. And then the last piece that we're about to dive into, recordings of past successful and unsuccessful sales calls. If you are not reviewing your game film, if you're not watching your sales calls, you cannot get better, and you cannot hire someone to get better because you don't have any proof that you've done it before. This is a critically important thing to have. Is there any questions for me on any of the checklist items? I believe Chris Hagel has one. Go ahead, Chris. Got to just unmute yourself.
My bad, sorry. So earlier on, when you went over the sales deck, you were real clear that you just want to keep it short, sweet. You listed off like 5 things, and you did it too quick, and I didn't write it down.
Okay, I'll do the sales pitch deck one more time for you. The first slide you want to have on your sales pitch deck is going to be your offer. The way I like framing offers is 90 days, so that you have a commitment of 90 days. So it should be like your 90-day blank, blank, blank method that achieves this result. I'll make one up. Your 90-day pulse method that gets you 15 new case opportunities per month. So that when you're on the call, you can be like, this is what we do. Do you want this? Because if they don't want it, what's the purpose of continuing from there? Because that's what your offer does, right? Then some social proof to prove that it works, okay? Then your actual offer slide, so like a Canva document of your pulse method, your 4 to 5 steps with the result. And remember, we spoke about this on the sales coaching about how you're going to tell them that the burden's on you to do the work, but you need to remind them that this is the result. Then I would have the competition slide. Like, this is what we do versus what our competition does. Again, you don't actually put a company name. That would look bad on you. The ROI slide, then you're done. There's some other ones as well that I would consider, but at least those, and you should be good.
Thank you.
help?
Thank you.
Alex, I want to add something here. When you do the one call close, guys, it's really, really important that you pre-frame the call versus the traditional two call closes. You can get away with not so much pre-framing because they're a bit more colder, things like that. But for the one call close, you want to make sure that they understand what the call is about, there's context, they understand the setting of it, what to be expected. And that's really what's going to elevate your conversion rates on the one call close. And I don't know if Alex, you want to add to that.
No, that was perfect. That's 100% correct. Makes a big difference, 100%. So before we move on to the sales workshop, just want to get a quick thumbs up. If you're on video, it'd be great. Does everyone have a prospecting sequence in place? Thumbs up or down? Let's just see what we got here. Also, if you're in the Facebook group, just let us know, just write it out. Just say yes or no for each of these. Do you have any scripts for warm calling? Yes or no? Okay, got a couple yeses, a couple nos. Do you have an application for qualification? Do we have that? Yes or no? Okay. Do we have a Facebook profile funnel right now? Yes or no? Okay, seems like half and half again. By the way, some of you are not putting your thumbs up. I can't tell or help you if you don't. Do you have a tracker to make sure that your company is actually tracking what you're doing? A few you do. Cool. Awesome. Good, good, good. Do you have a VA? Do you have a scorecard for the person you hired, or maybe you're for yourself? Most of you don't have that. Okay, that's understandable. Does anyone do the Dream 100 list from yesterday? Okay, few people, couple people. Start doing it. It will make a huge difference. Seriously. Ads, anyone running ads for your own company? Oh my goodness. We got one person, I think, just thumbed up. That's scary.
Ads are so scary, Alex.
No, it's not. No, it's not. What are you scared about?
Other people with their money, not my money.
Yeah, come on, guys. You got to show up for yourself. You got to ask yourself, are you playing business? Are you running a business? Come on. You're asking your clients to invest in ads. What's the deal? Does anyone have an agency website? Look at that. The majority of people have an agency website. Do you see why people play business? Most of you have an agency website, but you're not running ads. Makes sense. Good stuff. Anyone have a Facebook group? Their own Facebook group? If you're in the Facebook chat, just drop a yes or a no. Cool. Most people don't. That's okay. Sales side of things. One call close. Does everyone have the one call close? You should all have it because I sent it to you. Johnny, you're in the program, my guy. Come on. You're killing me. I love you, man. Sales deck. Do you have a sales deck? No one. Not one person. Okay, cool. I'm going to help you with that. I just gave you the slides. Make it. Drop it to me. Show it over. I'll help you with it. Let's get it right. Product summary. Do you have an actual summary of what your offers are? Okay, got a couple people. Most people don't. This is why it's important that we did this. Okay, do we have a demo video for your offer? Do you have like a simple breakdown video of what you do? A couple people.
Is that like a Loom video, Alex?
I use Loom. Yeah, I just use Loom. Also, Loom tells you who watches it, so that's pretty cool. I like doing that, and then you could follow up with them, be like, "Hey, you watched it. What'd you think?" Does everyone have an appointment reminder sequence so your people show up? Okay. What about a no-show sequence? What if they don't show up? Okay. I love the people that don't move there, don't even say yes or no either way. That's great. We're going to talk about objection handling in a second. Does everyone use the GHL sales pipeline? There's half of you that don't use it, and yet you're on this call. That makes no sense. Use it. It's an amazing tool. It's so great. And lastly, does anyone have any past recordings of sales calls at all? Any? Okay, this is the most important one, by the way, because of what we're about to do. Okay, what we're about to do is move on to this. Now, what we're going to cover here is what I believe is going to be the most valuable thing for you over the next, 3-4 days, the last 3 days that we've worked. Tomorrow's going to be great as well with retention, but in terms of sales, like this is what people want, and this is what I want to get for you. If you actually want to improve in your sales process, just listening to me coach you on sales is not going to get you there, because you're not going to actually put the work in. You're going to take 1 or 2 things I shared with you on Monday and implement those, and it'll be a really slow burn. If you really want to have success, I want you to be 100% focused now and work on this with me. We got about 100 people here. Let's actually execute it together. So we're going to go through this one at a time. I want you to open this up, and I'm going to ask you this, and then I just want to hear from you if you have any questions. Okay. We're going to give you time to go through this. This is the workshop. This is what's required. It's going to be a little bit different than what you've expected or what you've seen, and we won't be doing this tomorrow. Then we're going to be doing objection handling to close out. So let's start with sales optimization. Right now, what is the strongest element of your sales process? I want you going into the Facebook chat and I want you dropping it in right now. What is the strongest element of your sales process? I dropped in some options here for you. Is it the quality of leads that is the strongest element? Is it your personal ability to close or a team member potentially's ability to close? Is it risk reversal, meaning like you have really good guarantee or something like that? Is it your confidence that you're going to be able to fulfill the service? Is it something else altogether? I really want to hear from you on this, and I want to know what right now you're able to do. So we got a couple people said, David Savage said, it's my ability to close. Chris Stone said, we're brand new, we're too new. Hey, no worries, that's all right. That's what we're here for, to help you with this. This insight is going to make a big difference for you to support, okay? The ability to close seems to be the majority of people's main strong element. If that's your strongest element, that is a really valuable place to start, because that means the rest of it can be built on, like getting better quality leads, having more opportunities, having a better offer. All of those elements are going to make a huge difference for you, okay? Let's talk about the weakest element of your sales process. Is it any of the above? Is it the quality of leads? Is it the ability to close? Is it your risk reversal in your offer? Is it your confidence in actually delivering it? Remember, if you sell ethically, which is why I'm here in the first place, a lot of you would have a hard time selling if you don't believe you can actually fulfill it, because then you won't actually be confident and then you can't close. That could be a big problem, and it is for a lot of people in the agency space. Maybe it's something else altogether. What right now is the weakest element in your sales process? I want to see it in the Facebook chat. So we have quality of leads, not enough calls, getting appointments, no sales team, quality of leads, ability to close, the offer. Okay, so what I'm seeing the majority of you say right now, the biggest and weakest element is getting enough opportunities. If that's the case, you must follow Brian's training from yesterday. You must have told me, right? All of you that wrote that down meant that you, after Brian's training, started putting together your Dream 100 list and starting doing outreach, right? All of you did that, right? You actually started yesterday, right? How many of you started yesterday? How many of you? We got Rick Storley that started yesterday. I can't speak English. Nasir started yesterday. Who else started yesterday? Who writes that I don't have enough opportunities, gets Brian to teach you how to close 15 deals in one call, and then you don't do it? This is what I'm talking about and why we're doing the workshop. I don't want to sit here for 4 days and teach you stuff and then not have you do anything about it. I'm giving you my most valuable asset, my time. I'm also giving you assets that people pay us $15,000 for or $24,000 for. Also, you're giving me your most valuable asset, your time. Let's utilize it. That's what we're here for. That's why High Level gave me this opportunity. That's what I care about. Let's make sure you actually take the action on this, okay? Some people said social proof is lacking in services. We spoke about this in the objection handling, but I want to make sure if you're not clear on this, ask me on that again during the objection handling live, and we'll handle that for you right now today. I'll make sure every single question you have is answered. There's not one objection you can bring to me that I do not know how to handle. If I can't, I will pay you $100 today, period. Okay. Audit your last 10 sales calls. Now, keep this in mind. If you do not have any sales calls at all, then just listen to the ideas of what we're sharing. If you do have even 2 or 3 or 1 or 5, whatever it might be, just consider these questions, okay? And I want you to try your best to answer these in the Facebook chat. I promise there's value to this. And again, the idea behind this is not just doing it today at the GHL Summit. It's also that you would take this document, which I gave you a copy of, and you review this at least once a quarter. Now, the way that I recommend you review this is after every 20 sales calls. I strongly believe this. At the very least, though, once a quarter, okay? Let's talk about this right now. What do you think is the number one reason clients purchase from you? What is the number one reason? If you've had any client ever, what is the number one reason they have purchased from you? Let me know in the chat, please. I would really like to hear it. What is the number one reason? While you're doing that, I'll tell you the number one reason people purchase from us. The number one reason people purchase from us is my confidence. That's why. It's not social proof or our offer or our results or our experience or anything. It's just my confidence in my delivery. That's why. All of those other things matter, but the confidence is the most important. I've seen it time and time again. My experience and my confidence. That's what Chris says. Like and Trust by Glenn Wasserman. Reputation in the niche. Is Taylor Hill on this call? Taylor, if you're on this call, which I believe you are you going to unmute yourself and share a little bit more about that? Like what have you had reputation in the niche so we understand what can we learn from you on it if you're willing to unmute yourself and share?
Sure. We're in a really small niche, and we've been involved with them for about 10 years. And so I get calls almost daily, and it's just from reputation, but we write articles in their magazine, their trade magazine, and we do trade show stuff. We do webinars. We, do a monthly webinar that goes into the trade shows. So we're highly, we're just involved with the charities that they have. I mean, there's just a lot of things that we just do for them. There's a couple of big charities they support, and we do their websites for free.
Love
that
that
kind of stuff.
The idea of reputation and the like, know, and trust factor, what we call the LKT factor, Taylor, right? When you're really well known in the industry, when you are really elevated by other people, it increases your opportunity to sell so significantly. You don't even have to be a good salesperson. How many of you have ever had a referral where they bring them over to you and they're like, hey, Nasir, I heard David say you were amazing. I'm ready. Let's go. Like, you don't have to do anything. They're just like, let's do it. I'll give you a great example. When I was younger, when I was 19 years old, my first attorney, I asked him when I moved to Orlando, hey, do you have any friends you went to law school with that are in Orlando? I would love the opportunity to work with them. And he sent me not only someone in Orlando, but 10 other attorneys across the United States. The first person I got on said, oh, Lloyd recommended you. What was your price? I think he mentioned 2,000. It was 1,000. And I'm ready to go now. Whatever the invoice is, let's do it. Just tell me what we're going to do. I was like, oh, well, I had like this whole presentation ready and like I was ready to like sell, but then he just was ready and he paid me. And that was the first time I ever got paid on a call. I'd never taken a credit card before. I'd never gotten paid on a call. It was amazing. The like, know, and trust factor is significant. That's what happens when other people sell for you, essentially. And there's a lot of value to that. I'm giving you guys some time here. I'd like to see again, like, what else do you think is the number one reason people have purchased from you? Kathleen mentioned that she knows technology and they don't. Kathleen, you want to touch on that a little bit? What does that mean to you? Like, how has that helped you in your sales? You're muted. There we go.
Hi. Well, basically, I've been doing kind of ad hoc where I have a bunch of the other ladies who are doing the same thing as me, and they call on me to do their tech work, their back end stuff, because they know that I know how to do that. So I've been kind of hobbling along doing that and not working on the other stuff, which they're really good at. So
love it. It seems like the majority of you writing in the chat, by the way, and there's not enough of you. There's a lot of you on here. You should be writing in the chat. I want to see what your main and strongest element or why they actually bought from you. The majority of you is saying trust and knowledge, right? If anyone right now is not believing in themselves, not proving their worth, not doing Dream 100 to elevate their like, know, and trust factor, you clearly are missing out. More than half of the people just wrote that that's the main reason, not because I'm great at sales or not because my offer is really good or not because I was great with risk mitigation, but because of my trust, because of my reputation. One other person here, Brian Dunbar, said, asked for money. Remember what I told you guys, don't ask for money, tell them to do it. Makes a big difference, but he's getting closer. That's exactly what I want. And that's a really valuable framework to consider. Let's continue here. What is the number one reason? Okay. What is the number one reason that you believe prospects did not purchase from you? So let's talk about the opposite. Okay. So obviously we understand why you believe they have purchased from you. What's the number one reason they have not purchased from you? Let me know in the chat below. I want to hear it. I want to see it. I would love to know. What do you think is the number one reason they have not bought from you?
To me, it's also the same reason of the lack of energy or lack of confidence quite often that shows up in that frame.
Cool. So Rick Storley, are you on this call? Rick, I believe you are.
Yes, I am.
Cool. Rick, so you said value is not perceived. You want to touch on that a little bit?
So value as a definition equals price performance divided by quality perception. So whatever I was presenting to them didn't meet or exceed the amount of money that I was asking for. And so therefore I lost the sale.
So have you done any deep work on your offer to identify how you can increase the perceived value of your service?
Yes, and it's ongoing.
Okay,
I'm
perfect.
in an industry that's just been turned on its head in the last year. So I'm continuing to go through iterations of the offers and test them.
Sure. Sure. And I don't think there is an industry that hasn't been turned on its head since the pandemic. So I totally get that, Rick, 100%.
Yeah.
The value of doing this workshop, right, is when you are asked this question of why did they not buy, it forces you to consider versus, okay, I'll just move on to the next. Now you can actually say, well, if the value is not perceived, I need to work on optimizing my offer to have a better perception of value. That's the purpose of this. That's what we're here to do. That's why I want you implementing this. That's the idea. That's why I wanted to do this together with you today. So you're getting the value. If you're not, by the way, writing anything, can you just drop a 7 just to make sure that I know you're enjoying it at the very least? That would help me. So Nasir, you said it was about price. It's kind of synthesized down. Why do you think price is the reason they haven't bought from you? Unmute yourself if you don't mind.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, it's very similar to Rick's answer. You know what I mean? Because price plays a point in that. So I think maybe within my sales process so far, I may over confuse them to where that they don't actually I guess blame it on the price. You know what I mean?
Okay, I love what you just said. Thank you for this. I texted Nasir beforehand to make sure he said that so that I would be ready to say what I'm going to say. So good job, Nasir. You did it perfect. You played your part. I'm kidding. Jeff Middleton also said, confused by too many options. When someone writes price, Nasir, when we're doing this with my community and they're like price, I always want to I want to argue that point because price is usually not, it doesn't mean it isn't, it's just usually not. It's usually a veiled objection. Let me talk about veiled objections for a second before we dive into the actual objections. Veiled objections are when people tell you something that's not really the reason why they're not joining or paying. Usually it goes along like, I need to talk to my partner. I need to think about it. The price, I'm not sure about. Those are like 3 of the most common veiled objections, right? Really what they're thinking is the value isn't there. I can't see myself winning with this. It's too, I can't make this happen. Those types of things, right? When someone just says it's the price, this is what you need to say, Nasir. Hey, I appreciate that. Completely respect your transparency. I'm grateful for it. Let me ask you, if the price was reasonable in your mind, right? Because I think it's more than reasonable and fair based on the results I'm going to share. But if the price was reasonable in your mind, would we be working together or is there something else missing? Let's say they say yes. Okay, great. Awesome. Let's say for the scenario then that we're going to be able to work on the price together. What element else is there a problem with if you have any? Okay, if they have no other problem, now we've identified that the actual objection is the price. That's the real problem at the core. Perfect. So let's understand if you do the price handling well, which is going to be separating the value and the price, like we spoke about, for my blah, blah, blah method to achieve blah, blah, blah result. Okay, do you want that? They're like, yes. Perfect. Now, in order to do it, it's this price. Oh, now it's too expensive. So before they said they wanted it, now it's too expensive. Let's get clear on something then. Okay, if you say that it's too expensive, I showed you ROI. Let me ask you a metaphorical question. If you went to an ATM and you put $2 in and you got $5 out, how many $2 bills would you put in? An unlimited amount. Then why don't you see this as an ATM? What's the fear? What's the concern? It might not just be a price objection this year. What we might have to do is learn either risk mitigation. We might have to fix our ROI positioning. We might have to simplify our offer. We might have to focus just on the result. There's so much we can take away from this, which is why I'm such a big believer of doing this workshop. Now, we're going to do objection handling in about 10 minutes from right now. So any types of objections that you have like this, Nasir or anyone else, just bring them to me. Let me handle them for you and I'll show you how to handle it. But guys, give it up for Nasir. That was really great. Thanks for sharing, man. Let's see what else we got. Lack of additional credentials wanted. Johnny Northcutt, what does that mean? Lack of additional credentials wanted.
Yeah, so one client that I was trying to close came into the office and he was looking for specifically a lot of our credentials like BBB, and the BBB logo that we have right now for our accreditation shows that it's it expired on the 28th, and we just
Oh
waiting
my
for the
gosh.
certificate to come in.
Oh my
come
gosh,
in.
that's amazing.
Told him that we were actually up to date,
That's
and
incredible.
he left and said, "Okay, well, we'll do this." And then he called me back about an hour later, screaming at me on the phone about lying to him about our accreditations.
Well, good thing
there
he
was
didn't
an
become a
issue.
client, because if someone's yelling at you before they ever pay you money, I promise they're going to be the world's worst client in history. So I'm glad for you, Johnny, they did not become a client. Let me just say this up front. If you have any prospect that is ever worried about the BBB, they're stuck in 1995, just let it be. Just let it be and tell them straight up, like, I'm not worried about the BBB. We're years beyond BBB. This is not a thing anymore. No one cares about it. I focus on Google. I focus on my reputation. I focus on my results. If you're focused on BBB, go somewhere else. If you are willing to let the sale go so you don't have to deal with, I'm trying to not be profane here. I'm doing my best over 3 days. If they're going to give you dumb expletive objections, let them do their job. Move on. It's fine. If you allow people to like just force you to bend over backwards, you're going to just end up being in a bad position with bad clients consistently, right? One of the things that I like utilizing, and you have to do it appropriately, but it's something to consider along the lines of like, look, Chris, and I'm going to use this in Johnny's example, Chris, the BBB thing is kind of strange. Like, I get it, but we have proof, we have testimonials. I'm well known in the industry. We clearly know what we're doing. The BBB objection is very odd to me, to be frank. But at this point, like, I can talk you till I'm blue in the face to convince you that we're accredited by the BBB or that we're actually a real company. And I'm not trying to screw you over, but trust is required at some point, and I can't force it. So here's what it comes down to at this moment, right? You can either say, I want to do this, or you can either say, I don't feel comfortable. But know this, if you join our company, it's not going to make a difference in my life. If you join our company, it's going to make a massive difference in your life. Period. I believe that, and I want to prove it to you. Some people take that the wrong way. They'll be like, oh my God, you're so cocky, blah, blah, blah. You don't want to work with those people because they're focused on the wrong thing. You want them thinking, I love this guy. That's totally right. I'm being stupid. Let's go. That's how it has to be sometimes. And you know what you have to be willing to do? Lose the sale sometimes. And that's hard for some salespeople. That's hard for some salespeople, right? We get a little, I just don't want to be inappropriate. So I'm doing my best here. We get a little bit attached, that's the appropriate word, to sales and prospects. Like they're the last one we're ever going to have. And then we let people walk on us like they're the worst clients ever. So if you're getting a BBB objection, oh my gosh, just like shut the door, just close it. That is just the most outrageous thing. Cool stuff. Someone said I'm bad at confusing people. One of the things you want to do in your sales process when you're confusing and you're worried about overly explaining, think of it like a pizza. It's super easy. What's the simplest way you can explain a pizza? It's food that will make you full and you'll like it, right? But if you're like a pizza connoisseur and you're like, this dough was like farm fresh from Italy, it's unbelievable. The cheese was sourced across the Atlantic. They shipped it over. It was unreal. The marinara sauce was created directly from the hands of the greatest chef in the world, squeezing the tomato, and you're just like going way over. And they're like, dude, I just wanted a pizza. Just focus on the result. Just focus on the result. I know it's hard sometimes, especially for people that are very techie. I get that 100%, but just focus on the result. When they want to get more into the details and the weeds, be like, hey, look, if you're a plumber, okay, and a plumber comes to your house, do you care what tool they use? No. What do you want the plumber to do? You want the plumber to unclog your toilet. That's it. I'm going to unclog your whatever in the metaphor, right? Whatever your tech thing that you do is, okay? Keep that in mind. All right, let's continue here. Really good stuff, guys. I just want you to write down the common objections that you receive. Can you please drop them in the chat for me? Because we're going to do them now. This is part of the objection handling we're going to be doing right now. Okay, just drop down what your most common objections are.
Hey guys and gals, I encourage a lot of you to interact and collaborate in the channels in the commentary, because today we are gonna have a hard cutoff at 3:30. So you really want to get all your questions out, any kind of comments out, so Alex and Brian also can just go through those with you as quick as you can. We will have a hard cutoff today at 3:30 Central Standard.
Yari, what was your, you raise your hand. Hi, nice to meet you. It's Yari, right? Did I say that correct? You're muted.
It is. Yes. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
My chat is actually turned off. It's disabled, so I was not able to
They
participate.
were putting it in the Facebook group, but it's fine. What is
Oh.
your objection that you deal with? And then we can just work it together.
I think that Mostly it's just, they don't understand the value of the product. They don't understand the
Can I
value of
stop you? Can I stop
services.
you? Can I stop you? Not trying to be rude. I don't want you to explain it. I want you to tell me the objection. So you're the prospect. Tell me the objection. Like I just pitched you. Tell me the objection.
Well, it's just the price. I've only encountered that
Right.
because
Hey,
they don't
it's too
understand
much.
the value.
It costs too much.
Correct, right.
Cool. Okay. Did you hear what I just did with Nasir?
Yes.
Did that help, or do you want
It
any
did.
more clarity?
No, it did completely. That was answered for me, so.
Okay, cool.
But thank
Let me
you.
ask for clarity, and this is totally fine. You're not going to upset me in any way. Does anyone not feel comfortable with how to handle the price is too high objection? Is anyone not clear on that after the conversation I had with Nasir before? And if you're not, it's okay. I will continually work it through and give you more insight.
Clear. I'm clear on it.
Okay, awesome. What objections are you guys dealing with? And gals. Thank you, Yari, by the way. What other objections are you dealing with? You don't offer any guarantee. Farid said that. You don't offer any guarantee. It's a really, really great question. So there's a couple things. One, you could offer a guarantee. That's one. Not saying that you should in terms of your objection. Let's talk about the main reason why most people don't have guarantees. The main reason most people don't have guarantees is because most people aren't in e-commerce. E-commerce is one of the very unique niches that you have control from the front to the back end of the product. So you can lead generate, you can bring people to the website, you can help them actually buy the product. You have control of the whole process. So you can guarantee a certain amount of sales. Doesn't mean you have to guarantee it, but you can. When people guarantee a certain amount of patients or leads or opportunities, the biggest thing that you have to understand is what you're available to guarantee. Now, when I say can't guarantee, I want to make sure we're not talking ethereal words here, okay? I'm going to stop sharing my screen while we're doing this specifically so that we're on the same page for objection handling, okay? When you're doing can't guarantee, what I mean is you can't actually guarantee someone goes to a med spa. You can guarantee that you can get them a lead based on Facebook, but you can't guarantee that the person who says they're going to go to the med spa gets off their couch and goes to the med spa. You don't have any control over that. You can guarantee it, but you can't actually forcibly make someone do it, right? Does that make sense what I'm saying? Just want to make sure, just thumbs up in terms of what you can and cannot guarantee. This is called in psychology, the locus of control, what you actually have control over. In Facebook, you only have a certain amount of control. With most niches, you only have a certain amount of control. So what you want to do when someone's saying, hey, you don't offer a guarantee, there's a couple things you want to do. In lieu of a guarantee, what I do, Ben, is I showcase proof of the amount of people I have worked with so you can see that I already have done this prior. Let me ask you, are you not sold on this proof? Do you not feel that you can achieve the results that Yari or Nasir or Kathleen have already hit? You're not clear on that. You're unclear. Okay, that's on me then. I appreciate that honest and transparent feedback. Let me ask you the next thing, okay? I'm going to make up an example that they're a medical spa just for the sake of it. Farid, if you tell me what niche you're in, it will be more specific, but let's just say for the sake of it, it's a medical spa. So what you're telling me right now is you want me to guarantee my marketing service. Let's confirm this, okay? Let's say that I go to your medical spa, okay? And I do body contouring, okay? Can you guarantee me 100% that I will lose weight if I do it in one session? You can't. Why can't you guarantee it? Blah, 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 blah. Why are you asking me to guarantee something that I don't have control over when you won't guarantee something you don't have control over? The reality is I can only guarantee things that I have control over. What I can guarantee is that I'll put in all the work that I promised to do today, that all of the testimonials I showed you today are not just cherry picked, they're proven processes. I can guarantee that the money that you can see in the ROI will happen, but I can't make that a money back guarantee because if you cannot sell where I don't have any control, then I can't be at fault for that. I will help you with each piece of this process, but it's a partnership. I can't assume all the risk. There has to be assumed risk on both sides. And that's what marketing is. I am limiting and mitigating your risk by being the specialist, having the proof, and ensuring that you can get this type of quality of lead. Now, all this to say, it's hard in this type of format with like all of you here to just handle that type of objection in general. There's very specific things that I would want to understand about your offer in order to give you very specific coaching on that, Farid or anyone else watching. any of you that have a specific problem with the objection, I need to know what your offer is, why you do not have any guarantee at all, so that we can handle it. But hopefully that should give you some good clarity. Does anyone have any additional questions, particularly on the guarantee objection? I'm happy to answer it if you do. No problem with any questions on that.
Alex, is it okay if I add something to it?
Of course.
You know, sometimes when you talk to these prospects, you have to neutralize the white elephant that they don't talk about, which is they got burnt by another guy. And that guy had a guarantee too. And that's something nobody's talking about in this interaction, right? So sometimes what I would do, like let's just say I'm talking to Chris Hagel, I'll be like, Mr. Hagel, there could have been a chance that you worked with another marketing company that had guarantees that didn't deliver for you. Is that why you expect a guarantee with me? And if so, what are the stipulations around it that can help me earn your business today?
Let me add on to that too, Paulson. Let me add a couple things. One, just you can always ask for any objection, like why, basically. So like, why do you want a guarantee? Oh, I want to have my risk mitigated more. Have you ever had a guarantee offered to you in this space? You have. What happened with that scenario? It didn't work. You got your money back. Okay, so what's the purpose? Do you want your money back or do you want the result? What do you want? Because you didn't give me the money yet. I don't want to give it back to you. I just want to give you more money back. Same idea, exactly the same framework that should work really well for you. What other objections do we have here? I just want to see. Oh, I accidentally went backwards. Okay, cool. So we have someone, Ty Goodwin said, I already have blank, so I don't need the full system. This is an extremely good objection handling. Now, this is a great one to deal with. So some people have like this full process, like an example, they have high level, they have advertising, they have an ISA team, they have funnel builds, call center, like all this stuff, right? And the person comes to you and says, hey, I already have an ISA team. I don't need the full system. So Ty, again, this is very particular to you. I don't know, Ty, are you on this call? I don't know if you are. If you are, unmute yourself. If not, that's totally okay. But if you are on it, I would love to hear from you. But the point being is
streaming. She's not in the Zoom. She's on the stream.
No worries. Yeah. So Ty in particular, right? This is super important to understand strictly on this. One, can you make that offer a la carte? Or oh, Ty is coming in. Nice. Come on in, Ty. Love it. Love it. Let's go. Bring it.
All right.
Perfect. Ty, are you here? Can you hear me? Ty. Hey, Ty. Can you unmute yourself? You're muted. There we go. Okay, so Ty, give me an example of what they already have from your service that they don't want from you. Javi Pulido, good to see you, my man. Good to see you, bro. Ty, tell me what they don't have in your offer. Or
So
what they already have, rather.
Yeah, my number one thing right now is, and it's either one of two things. I already have ClickFunnels or I already have Teachable. So I don't need all this other stuff.
Cool. Let's
right?
role play it. Are you cool? Can we role play?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Awesome. Hey, Ty, I already have this other tool that we're not going to name again on the high level platform, or this other one that we're not going to name on here, redacted. Yes. At least hopefully some of you get a smile from that. But anyways, joking aside, can we do this product without those things?
Yeah, we can do that without those things.
Then it's not an objection. Then I have no problem.
Well, then they come back with, are you going to, do I still have to pay the same amount of money?
Do you want them to pay the same amount of money?
Sure.
Then yes.
Okay, well, that sounds super when we're on the call. Yeah, it's
I got you, Ty. I got you. Hey, Ty, do you like Chili's or Applebee's, or do you prefer like fine dining restaurants?
Fine dining.
Fine dining, right? Me too. I'm a fine diner. Do you think if I go to a fine dining restaurant and I order the steak with the blue cheese on the side, but I don't eat blue cheese, if I ask them to remove the blue cheese, will they reduce my price on how much it is?
They will not.
Huh. Interesting. Well, guess what? I'm a fine dining restaurant. That's the reality. You're right. You already have blank redacted. That's totally cool. I have no problem with that. It doesn't change the fact that my investment is totally reasonable and fair. The price is what the price is. Full price is fair price. You're still going to get a significant ROI. Are we going to, the benefit to you is it's just going to shorten our process. Okay, so we don't have to build out the funnel. We don't have to have the whole process done. We're just going to get the result quicker. It's fine.
Alex,
you don't like blue cheese.
Can I add a really important piece?
As long as you throw in a redacted, then I'm good.
So this is what Alex and Ty is doing is fantastic. when you remove a line item from your core offer, it's not the same thing as when you customize an offer for a client.
Yes, you shouldn't be
It's
customizing.
totally okay for them not to take the blue cheese, but it's not okay for them to now turn that steak into a pork chop.
Yeah, exactly. Especially because blue cheese is terrible. So just
This
making
is
sure
true,
that
but
that's like the whole purpose of the entire summit. I wanted to make sure that you guys know I hate blue cheese. That's all.
but to that point, like removing something is okay, and it doesn't change and affect your fulfillment, your account management, your your entire ecosystem behind you that's delivering the service. But if you change things up, you're gonna get into a whole lot of trouble because your fulfillment's gonna just take a lot of
You're gonna be
pressure.
so pissed, and your profits are gonna be changing and everything. The fine dining restaurants are a really good one. The only thing I did incorrectly there, Ty, that I want to make sure you wouldn't do is don't ask them if they like either, because they could say they like Chili's, and then Chili's would potentially change the price. So just make sure you're like, hey, do you like going to fine dining restaurants? Have you ever been to any? Cool, and then just use that. Just don't do what I did. Always reframing, like I said, guys, when you do objection handling or role playing, I never do scripts on anything, right? It's always frames. So sometimes you say something, it doesn't come out really right. You want to just redact that, fix that a little bit, and go from there. So Ty, hopefully that helped. Thanks for jumping on. That was awesome.
That did help. And I posted this in the Facebook comments as well. One of the things I love about what you're doing, Alex, is you're not judging, right, the person for asking the question. And you're also not cowering in your response, when somebody pushes back saying, oh, like taking it back. And so I really like the balance and the tone of what you're doing. So thank you for demonstrating that.
My pleasure. Sometimes I am judging them, but I'm not telling them that I'm judging them. And it's okay. You can be like, well, that's really stupid. You just don't tell them that. That's all. Just two different things. Although maybe if someone told me about the BBB thing, like Johnny said, I'd probably just have to be like, are you dumb? Really? Like, is that real? And then I'd probably lose the sale anyways, because I don't know if I'd have the patience for something that insane. Although Johnny, I have had someone mention that to me like years and years ago. And I don't remember what happened, to be honest. Rick Storley asked, what is preferable, a guarantee or social proof of client results? This is not a mutually exclusive thing. It's very dependent on your offer. And Rick, if you want to message me privately about a little bit more detail of what your offer is, I can give you better feedback, but it's definitely not mutually exclusive. If you can have both, fantastic. Like, that's the idea. And they're not even related, honestly. Like, it's not like a and or. You should definitely have social proof, period. And then the guarantee is kind of just depends on your offer and what you're willing to do. If you guys want just a quick coaching on guarantees, this is how I recommend it. I don't recommend money back guarantees on anything ever. I don't believe in free work. And I'm just really not a big believer of that. I think satisfaction guarantees are fine. Ultimately, the money back guarantee idea falls upon itself in terms of a logical or pragmatic argument. Consider it this way in terms of a linear process. The person is here, they want to go here. They make an investment to go here. What you're telling them is, if we can't get you here, you're going to get back to where you were. They didn't want to be where they were. So why would you bring them back to where they were? What you want to do is you want to promise that you'll get them there by pretty much any means necessary. So you do a satisfaction guarantee. We will work at no cost for you to get you this result if we don't do it. The thing is, you can't offer that until you have proof that you can actually achieve it. So like, some people will offer a satisfaction guarantee hearing me on high level, and then they work for free for a client for 9 months, even though I just said a minute ago, I don't want you working for free ever. So like, you got to listen. So the key is, you only offer a satisfaction guarantee after you've done the result enough. I'm going to do a quick example. If you have, you work with HVAC contractors and consistently you've done it 30 plus times, you every single time get them 25-star quality leads, 20 at least, then your guarantee should be, we're going to give you 10 minimum, because you know you're going to get 10 every single time. And by some act of God, you weren't able to do 10, you're probably going to be close to it. So you'll work for free for a month. In your service level agreement, which is the contract that you provide to every client you bring on, you have to say how long the satisfaction guarantee terms are. We will work for free at no cost for a maximum of the initial termed agreement, usually 3 months, and then we'll move off of it. If you can't get the result then, you can't get the result then. You had risk, they had risk, and that is what it is. Hopefully that helps, Rick. I hope that helps sincerely.
Can I add something? I'm sorry.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. Just what you.
Right?
Yeah, man. How you doing? Good talk. By the way, good talk. I'm a 35 plus years sales guy, so I get it. Good stuff. Anyway, As far as the results go, I think that's always dangerous because, like you said, you don't have control of the whole process from your customer side of it, right? They could treat you could treat their people crappy, and they don't get the referrals, therefore they can't close business and so forth. So I think, I tend to always lean more on, I guarantee that I'm going to do the activities that I say I'm going to do, but I can't guarantee that the results are going to be what maybe you expect.
I do that every single time. The only thing is, Glenn, when we do that, some people are like really cheeky and they're like, oh, blah, blah, blah. They don't like it. But it's really about the tone that you come across it. And also when you break the fourth wall on cheekiness, it makes a big difference. So I'd only add one thing, like, this is going to sound a little cliche, but at the risk of sounding cliche, and then do it. I'm a big believer of that. I'll give you a quick example. I was doing sales coaching earlier this week. I hope no one gets offended by this. I don't mean any offense, just being honest with you. I was doing coaching with someone from Dominican Republic, and he had a very, very thick accent. It's my job as a coach to be like, hey, like, let's put the cards on the table. The accent is going to be judged on sales calls. Period, right? It just is. It's part of it. You want to pretend that people don't judge books by their cover. They do. It's part of it. This is not the sound of the voice that I'm used to hearing. Thus, the like, know, and trust factor is lower, potentially. Just like when I said, what's the strongest part of your sales process? Every single one of you said like, know, and trust factor. So this is a big thing. So I said at the front end, just use it as an anchor to the call. Hey, I know I might sound a little bit different. I'm clearly Russian. Obviously, I'm kidding. I'm from Dominican Republic. I work with everyone in the United States. Hope that doesn't bother you. Let's dive in. It will disarm them and also make them realize this doesn't matter. That's what you want. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that I sound like this. It's a really important technique. I love breaking the fourth wall in sales. It's key. Sean Harris dropped some really good ones in the chat. So I'm going to answer them and give you some feedback, and we'll go from there. One of them is, can you send me a proposal? Easiest objection handling in the world? No. Okay, next one. I'm just kidding. Hopefully that made you smile though. I hate this question. It's terrible, but it's very common and happens all the time. And a lot of you fall for it. So this is how you handle it moving forward. And then Chrysolette Vassell, I will go to you next. This is how you handle it. Hey, in 3, 2, 1, Nathan, totally understand. Appreciate the request. So what you're asking for is a proposal. Can I have clarity on what you're looking to see in the proposal? Back and forth, back and forth. Got it. Okay, so you want to see just a simple breakdown of my offer and what we're going to do for you and how much it is. Is that correct? Got it. Okay. Do you feel that I didn't provide that accurately enough on this call today? You do, but you just want more time to think about it. Got it. Side note. Now what we're doing is we're identifying that the objection is think about it, not proposal. Okay, so you want more time to think about it. Here's the thing. We've been chatting for about 30, 40 minutes, right? You mentioned you had an hour on this call. Why don't we do this? Okay. What I'll do is I'll keep the slide up so you can see exactly what we do and what the offer is, right? And I'll mute myself, turn my video off so there's no awkwardness and you don't have to feel pressured. You can do the exact same thing. All right. And then what will happen is you can take the time right now because the door isn't closing. I'm not forcing you, rushing you, trying to make you make a decision. But if you have the time, now's the time. The worst case scenario is I get off this call, I make you some sexy, like aesthetically pleasing proposal that you're probably not going to read because you're going to scroll to the bottom and look at the price because you forgot everything we spoke about on this call, or you're never going to open the email because you're going to get off this call, go back to work, go pick up your kid from school, have dinner with your kids, watch a movie with your wife, wake up tomorrow, get back to work, and then you're going to forget about this conversation. Now's the time. You're here. You gave me your time already, the most valuable asset you have. Let's utilize it. Let's take advantage of it. Why don't you take another 15 minutes to consider it and then see if you want any more clarity after that? If they're like, okay, fine, and then they come back 5 minutes later, the idea is hopefully they have a couple questions and then you can get them to pay a deposit. If they're like, I can't do it, blah, 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 say this. Let me ask you this. You understand what we do. You just like to think it over and you want to see it in a simple format. Is that right? Got it. But so far, based on what you're seeing, this is what you're looking for, correct? Perfect. Is there anything outside of seeing it on an email that you want, seeing it breaking down, that's going to withhold you from making this investment? Okay. And you're totally fine that I don't make some very aesthetically pleasing 8-page paper of who we are and whatever, just a very simple email. This is what we're doing. This is our promise. This is the investment. Is that cool? Cool. Awesome. Let me ask you this then. Okay. I want you to partner up with us. I already know if I fast forward 90 days into the future, this is the best investment you could possibly make for your business. I'm 100% confident in that. And I have proof to back it up. You and I are going to laugh about this specific conversation. I guarantee it in the next 90 days. With that said, here's what I'd ask. Put down a $500 refundable deposit. You will be my sole chiropractor that I work with in Tallahassee. I will get everything set up and ready to rock and roll so that we can start next call that we do, let's say in 72 hours from now. Okay. So you have enough time to think it through. On that call, we'll be ready to rock and roll on our kickoff, or you'll say, hey man, this isn't right for me. Here's why. And I'll refund you. No questions asked. That way we have trust built. I will send you the proposal with confidence that we're going to work together because you're actually going to take the time to look at it. And you can feel confident that you've already made your decision. You just want to affirm that decision. How does that sound? That's the frame of handling the objection. Now, let me make this clear. Do you win automatically? Is that like a surefire way that they pay? Of course not. That's not how it works. There's a very strong possibility they say, no, I don't want to do that. But that also means there's a very strong possibility that they won't become a client. Hopefully that helps, Sean. I hope that's helpful and valuable. Does anyone else have any other questions on the proposal objection? It's probably the most irritating objection possible.
Alex, my biggest takeaway in how you're handling these things is the isolation component of every objection. And you're not taking an objection at face value. You're treating it as, here's a veil objection, here's an underlying core objection that they really have, even if they presented it. But I love how you're isolating components of time, investment, and proof, things like that, and then attacking it that way.
Most important thing. Okay, Paul's good. Chrysolette, did you have a question? Did you want to unmute yourself and ask me your objection?
Hey, Alex. Hey, everyone.
Hi.
No, I didn't have a question, but I wanted to agree with something that you said in terms of accent, because
Sure.
I am Jamaican, and I don't know.
I totally thought you were from South Africa. I love your voice. It's beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. But it is something that you definitely have to get out on the open, because people do make a judgment based on those kind of things. And so very clearly for myself, I put it on the table right away. Hey, I'm Jamaican, blah, 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 blah. But I primarily work with persons in the US and in Canada, right? And then when you're showing proof as well, then it just shows that you know what you're doing.
Yeah, I love that.
But you really have to put it on the table.
Really, really good. There's a couple other little things, Chrysolette, that you can do potentially, and just expressing value in their benefit. Everything that you do in sales is framing to the benefit of the client. I already did the joking things, so I'm not going to do that again. One other note, if it is the case, it might not be, but hey, one of also the benefits of potentially working with me, that now that I live in Jamaica, our cost of living here is significantly less. So the investment to work with us is going to be likely less than anyone else you speak with, but the results are going to be even better. We'll talk about that as we go through the call. People really like that and get excited about it, and it showcases trust and opportunity to work with them. Thanks for sharing that, though. I really appreciate that. All right, let's see what other objections we had. Anyone on this call directly that wants to unmute themselves and ask me specifically before I answer any other ones in the Facebook group? Okay, don't be afraid to step up. It's okay, I promise. All right, we got one from David Rosenthal, a fellow Yid, and I love this objection because he said rabbi in it, which is hilarious. He said, I need to discuss it with my business partner or wife or rabbi before I can commit. I like to make the joke of having to talk to your dog about it, but let's talk about that. 3, 2, 1. Hey, okay, so Chris, what you're telling me is you want to do this. You just want to consider it by first confirming it with your wife or business partner. Is that correct? Got it. Awesome. No problem. Let me ask you, just for the sake of understanding, if you were making the decision today yourself without anyone else's decision making or consideration, would we be working together? Now, off the role play, sometimes you can tell people are like, kind of like, why did he just ask that question? If you can see it in their face, this is why a visual component really matters. Jump one more step. 3, 2, 1. Hey, by the way, the reason I asked that obviously is because if you say anything other than, oh yeah, 100%, how is your wife, rabbi, dog, parrot going to convince you? They weren't on the call. What's going to happen is you're going to tell them, hey, they're going to do this result. It's going to be this price. And they're like, no. That's what they're going to do, right? So what do I have to do to make sure you leave this call with a 100% yes, so that you can confirm it with the other people in your life that matter? Then you work on that objection. Let's say they are like, yeah, 100%, we're going to work together. Okay, awesome. Love it. There's 2 steps you're going to do after this. 2, okay? The first one is very challenging, but really important. Hey, let's say you speak to your rabbi and he says no. What would you do? Now, let me share off the role play why this is important. Why do you want them to consider what happens if they say no? Any person that uses this objection authentically, meaning, hey, I really want to do this, I just have to talk to my wife, which I understand. I have a wife. I want to confirm any, $1,000, $2,000 decision with her, right? I mean that truthfully. But it's also an easy excuse to get off a call if you don't want to say no, right? So if they mean it authentically, they're not thinking that their partner is going to say no. Now what you're doing is forcing them to consider what would happen if they say no, which they weren't considering. So now they're like, wow, honestly, if they say no, we're probably just going to continue anyways. If they say the opposite, man, if they said no, I wouldn't be able to do it because ultimately, you know, their voice matters in this. Totally respect that then. I'd rather have the opportunity to speak to them myself. I feel bad having you trying to convince them versus me doing my job. This is what you hire me for. This is the first step. Let me do my job. Let me speak to them. Really important. If they say, yeah, I'll still do it, amazing, then let's do this. And then you do the exact same deposit frame as we did before. So again, the 3 things that you want to do for any I need to talk to partner objection is the following. Number 1, are you convinced right now? Number 2, what if they said no? Number 3, deposit. Does that make sense, everyone? Cool. Awesome. Here's the thing, by the way, in role playing, it's a lot easier. You have to do this on the calls. If you listen to me and then don't do it, why did you come here? This really frustrates me when I'm working with people in POD. That I will tell them exactly what to do, and then they're fearful of doing it. Just do it. Nothing bad's going to happen. I promise. And it's going to empower you and make you feel incredible because not because you're selling or making money, but because you're making a difference for someone. Remember what I said on Monday? People suck at decision making. All of you are terrible at it. I'm terrible at it. Paulson's terrible at it. Everyone's terrible at it. Help them make decisions. This is your job. Everyone wants to procrastinate. Here's the thing. Most people start as amateur procrastinators. Everyone's now procrastinators. I stole that joke from one of my team members. I can't take credit for it, but damn, I love that joke so much. Popper, I love you, but I had to say it. It's just a great joke. I love it. Hopefully you enjoyed that one. Okay. What happened if you don't have any proof if you work? I don't think that's English. Let's try that one again separately. Sorry. Let's see if I got another one. Before offer is presented, what's the cost and or what makes you different? So we kind of went through this one on Monday. I'll do this quickly. We have 9 minutes left. So I'm going to bust these out for you really quick. Okay. What is the cost? If someone's like, hey, just get to the cost. I just want to know the cost. Be like, hey man, if I had the cost just ready to rock and roll, right? And first of all, it's an investment. If it's a hard cost, then there's no purpose of working with me. If I can't make you money back, why would you invest in this, right? So it is an investment. And I don't know if that semantic matters to you, but it really does matter to me. And I want you to consider that as we speak. In terms of like being really aggressive with me about what the investment is right away, I respect that you don't want to waste your time. Maybe it's out of your budget. That's fine. Here's the thing though. If I had the cost available, if it was just a standard price, I would send you a video. Here's what we do. Here's the proof. Here's the guarantee. Here's the price. Will you do it? We wouldn't do a call. The reason I do a call is to make sure I can actually help you. I don't just accept everyone. Even if you came here and you said, I had $1,500 right now, I'll do it. I won't say yes. Well, to be honest, maybe I'd say yes, but I'd like to think I wouldn't say yes. Here's the reason why, because ultimately I want to make sure I can serve. Getting one payment from you doesn't make me win. What really makes me win is your 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 15th, 20th, 100th payment, because we'll work together forever if we build an ATM machine where you put in $1 and we get $3 back. That's the idea. So I don't know how much it's going to cost. Do you want 10 appointments? Do you want 100? Do you want 1,000? How am I supposed to know? Here's what I can tell you baseline. It's definitely going to be at least $1,000, period. It's going to at least be, $50 a day, at least minimum. If you can't do that, then we can jump off, but that's the honest reality. That's how you handle it. And it will work every time, every time. Okay, the other one, what makes you different? I already discussed this with the competition slide, so I'm not really going to go back into it. I really don't want to. So if you really want me to handle it more, by the way, everyone that's on here, I'll make you a commitment now. I can't make it necessarily for the rest of the day, but I will make a commitment. Any objection that you drop into the chat on Facebook, I will personally answer. I will try to figure out how to do a video for you so you can see the expression, but I will answer it for you. Please make me really busy. Drop the objections for me. I will support you on it and help you. Okay. Let's see what else we've got here before we wrap up.
Alex,
what happens?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're good.
Can I ask a quick favor? So when it comes to objection handling, right? Can you elaborate on the timing of objection handling? Is it before the offer or is it after the offer? What kind of preventive measures do you really take so you don't have to deal with this many objections while
Such a good question. Such a good question. This is why that worksheet I shared with you, we didn't finish it, right? But I gave it all to you so you can use it. It's why it's so important. If you write down all the common objections that you received, did you print it out already, Hagel? What a boss. Look at that guy. That's amazing. That's pretty great. One of the things that you can do is you'll realize, oh, these are the 8 to 10 objections I get all the time. How can I pre-handle them? There's a slide that you can use in your deck called the problems and solutions slide. And the problems you can do is you can put in what the objection is before they ask it and then handle it. So it's already done in their mind. This is like a really deep dive thing that's not going to take 1 minute, but that's like the simplest format of doing it. And it will make a difference, but you have to do the work to get there. Otherwise, you're not going to get there, right? That's why I gave you that slide. Okay, what else do we have? Already have someone running ads and doing that. Call back in 2 months. That's not an objection. That's a no. Those are different things. Understand what a no is and understand what an objection is. If someone's saying, I don't need your service, that's not an objection. That just means they don't need your service. That's like going to a restaurant and being like, do you want the salmon? And you're like, no. And they're like, wait, are you sure? Like, you should really get it. It's really good. You're like, I don't need salmon. I'm good. Are you sure though? It's a no. That's not an objection. People do this a lot. I don't understand why people do that. It's not an objection. What happens if you don't have any proof of work? I already went through this last time. I'll send it to you separately. I think we're good. I think I did all of them. Is there any other objections before we run that any of you in particular have that you want me to answer for you right now? Okay, if not, thanks. I'm really glad that we had the opportunity to do this today. Just give me one more second here. I'm going to pull this up to make sure that you guys see this. I think I actually closed it, which is really stupid of me. My bad. I apologize about that. But ultimately, if you guys like this, can you drop in the chat below that you enjoyed this? So I know that this was worthwhile and worth your time. Oh, thanks, Paulson. That's really awesome of you. Thank you. I appreciate that. So guys, just as a note, again, the reason we did this is we want to come here and share value with you all and give you the insight you were looking for to grow your companies and your agencies. Obviously, we run a mentorship program for prospecting on demand. This is absolutely not affiliated with High Level whatsoever, so don't go complaining to them about anything. But ultimately, what we're doing is we're offering something we never offered before. We gave you guys the training that is literally in our mentorship program. So if you join us, the sales training, it's in the program. The Dream 100 training, it's in the program. The sheets that we gave you today, they're in the program. There's also about 250 hours of more material for every other system in your company, which is 93. If you can just show them 93 really quick, Paulson. All of these elements are what's necessary to grow your company to 7 figures or less if you don't want to hit that number, which is totally fine. But these are the things that we will cover. Like I shared that entire slide at the front end. Basically, the offer is as follows. You can share it with them, Paulson, on 94. We're offering a love it or leave it, something we've never done before. Basically, you can give us a trial period for 2 months. It's essentially like $84 a day. It's $2,500 a month. After the fact, if you want to continue with us, great. If you don't, totally fine. We opened up 8 spots for this. We'd love the opportunity to support you. If you want this, just drop an 8 in the chat. We'll talk about how we support you. You have a private Slack channel, 13 coaches to support you, daily coaching calls. We audit your sales calls. We help you with your offers. We help you build out a better business. Every person we work with grows and has success, and we'd love the opportunity to help you with it. And that's it. That's what I got for today. Tomorrow, we're going to be doing the client retention training. It's one of my favorite trainings possible. A lot of people think that client retention isn't a sales issue. It's absolutely a sales issue. So I'm going to be covering that tomorrow. You can see actually a little bit of a sneak peek on slide 96, where it says maintaining 95% client retention, how to retain clients forever, which is hyperbole, but at least 6 months of it. So we're going to cover that tomorrow. It's going to be epic, 3 p.m. Yeah, I just hope you guys enjoyed this. I love doing this and I'm super grateful for it. And thanks for your time so much. It's really good to see
you guys. Loved Alex today, and I love the practicality and the implementation side of it. Like Ty said, he just goes right at it regardless of what happens without running away from the question. So we really, really appreciate it, Alex.
My pleasure.
Make sure you guys put down your questions in the Facebook streaming. Brian, Hakeem, and Alex will go through some of those questions to make sure you're in a place of success. Like I said, we do this at High Level to scale you. Our goal is to scale, 17,000 agencies simultaneously. So how do we do that? By creating collaboration, creating communities. Pretty soon we'll have a centralized hub for all the education activities we do, so you'll get new schedules and things like that. and
Awesome.
you'll be in front of it. But for just an appreciation as thank you, put down a 7 in the Facebook streaming as a thank you to Alex.
Paulson, as we close, the idea of scaling 17,000 agencies at the same time is very daunting. We can handle like 55 people. So I feel like I'm doing good work with 55 people, but GHL is doing amazing work with 17,000. So you guys should all be proud and appreciative of being in this community. They're wonderful human beings. I can vouch for that day by day. I'm super happy to be here. And I hope you guys are really enjoying this. Please implement it though. Even if you don't join me or pay me 1 cent ever, just do the work. That's it. Let's end with that. I'll see y'all tomorrow.